What's going on, my fellow Triangle Townies? It is week 2, the second edition of your Tuesday Morning Commissioner, coming from you live on a Tuesday afternoon. You know, we got jobs in the morning, so Tuesday Afternoon Commissioner might be the new title. We had a great week of fantasy football. We'll get right down into it. Let's take a look at some of the scores. We had some of the teams that kind of looking like the Carolina Panthers, sitting there at 2-0. We got some teams looking like the Seattle Seahawks, going 0-2. Then, you got the big fray in the middle at 1-1. So let's see who rebounded for a nice week, and let's take a look at the scores. First matchup of the week, we're going to have yours truly, Mr. Big Newton, Mr. Lee Phillips. We always start with the most important player, the commissioner in the league. Good quarterback battle in this matchup, but I take a big 155 to 117.3 matchup against Joe and his Triangle Firebirds. We move over. Amanda survived week 1 by a point over Jason. She continues the good feelings as the New Zealand Kiwi Birds take a 112.8 to 91 matchup against Deb's team Shockley. We have one of the more lower scoring matchups of the league again this week. Paul Blart Malkop, a beneficiary of another low scoring matchup, taking an 86.5 to 70.5 victory. Somehow 86 points, enough to secure a W for Mr. Mike, as Taj drops to 1-1. Mike moves up to 2-0. We have Jordan just unloading some fantasy skill on Kurt this week. The Wichita Lawn Pigs get down by the Durham Bison, 172 to 91.8. That is just a merciless beating, and yikes! I'm sorry, Kurt, but Jordan just owned it this week. You got to hand it to him. Last but not least, we have House Autry getting into the win column over Jay's Hershey Bears. Jay's going to drop to 0-2. Josh moving up to 1-1. Josh with some nice work out of some of his wide receivers this week. Really came up to play. Taking it 144.8 to 108. So there's this week's scoreboard. Week 2 is in the books. Like I said, a couple teams having a very nice week. Somehow, Paul Blart Malkop keeps surviving. But hey, 2-0 is 2-0, and Mike will take it. I thought I had a very nice week at 155 points. Everybody kind of showed up to play on my team, but Jordan just blew everybody out of the water this week. And that 170-plus points is always pretty rare to find in fantasy football, especially in the league that we carry. But let's dive into some more individual matchups and take a look at how each team fared. Like I said, we will start with the most important team, Mr. Big Newton, as the commish always go first. Joe changing up his quarterback situation, switched up Peyton Manning for Tom Brady this week, certainly paid off, as this matchup was definitely a quarterback's duel. Roethlisberger with 43 actually got outshone by Tom Brady in his 45 points. But the depth down the line there, even with a soft running back matchup this week, for myself, only 19 points combined out of my running backs. A nice day for Antonio Brown, almost 200 receiving yards. Jamal Charles came to play. Even the Saints defense not putting up negative points is a big deal. Allen Robinson really helped you out, Joe, but after that, man, that was a pretty lackluster effort from your team there, man. But nevertheless, Big Newton gets the W, and we move on to the New Zealand Kiwi Birds and Team Shockley. Like I said, the New Zealand Kiwi Birds, Amanda survived a 1-point effort over Jay last week. She continues the winning ways this week. Definitely has that Alex Smith-Colin Kaepernick combo, which they've known each other for a while, I guess. Kaepernick would have been the better play there, but Amanda will take the W, 112.8 to 91. Deb, that kicker situation is not good. Plus, let's see, you played all the right people, it looks like, so just looking for a better effort out of your guys next week, as Jeremy Hill should definitely put up more than a point. You're definitely looking at Mike Wallace, Brandon Cooks at combined 10 points. Really should get more out of those guys, but even with Eddie Lacy not scoring a single point, Amanda does take the W this week. D'Angelo Williams, the nice surprise there. So we move on to our next matchup, which is Mr. Taj Peppers and his Rex in effect. Old Rex Ryan, see if he can outcoach Mr. Paul Blart Malkop. But Mike takes the W. kind of a snooze fest this week. As looking at Keenan Allen, I don't know how a position player even gets negative points. And your 49ers defense definitely letting you down. Combined negative 8.5 points out of those two spots. Even with poor running back effort again from Marshawn Lynch and Amir Abdullah, combined 10 points out of those guys, and Mike Evans combining for 0. Mike takes the win. Man, Taj, you left some points on the bench on that one. Anybody but Drew Brees would have been the better play there. The Cardinals defense, man, there's a 30-point swing right there. But Taj is a smart fantasy football player. He does not make the same mistake twice. So we'll see what happens next week. But we move on right now to the bloodbath matchup of the week, the Durham Bison and the Wichita Lawn Pigs. Kurt definitely not helped out by the fact that Tony Romo gets hurt. Michael Floyd putting up nothing. The Dolphins' defense. I can't remember the last time Jacksonville hung negative points on a defense. But nothing was going to outshine Mr. Jordan's Durham Bison this week. How dare you play not play Cam Newton over Phillip Rivers? Jordan, I'm shocked that you could have really increased your point total there. And Roddy White with a whopping 0. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. 172 points, nothing to sneeze at. But Gio Bernard would have been the better play there, Jordan. I'm just, a friendly fantasy football tip for you. But we'll see if you can improve next week or if this 172 is just fluke. We move on now to our final matchup, which is Jason's Hershey Bears, Josh's House Autry. Josh getting into the win column, 144.8 to 108. Danny Woodhead couldn't continue that streak, and I don't know what they're doing in Philly with DeMarco Murray, but that is a head-scratcher right there. A couple of nice players, Jordan Matthews, Eric Ebron in both double digits. Aaron Rodgers had a nice day, but definitely left some points on the bench there with Torrey Smith, but who would have ever think to play Torrey Smith? House Autry, very nice day. Pedestrian effort out of Chris Johnson and Drew Luck. But a very nice day for every wide receiver that touched the ball for House Autry. Amari Cooper with some long touchdown catches. Odell Beckham Jr. doing his thing. Calvin Johnson returning to Megatron form. And Jarvis Landry really looking like a steal of the draft there for Josh. When your kicker gets 15 points, it's usually a good day. So there you have it. There's everybody's individual matchups. I hope everybody's pleased. But hey, even if you're not, that's fantasy football. You should play the right people next week. Then maybe you can give Jordan a run for his money. So speaking of that, let's see which teams have to face Jordan and maybe myself and House Autry. You all had some nice days. Let's see who has to face each other next week. We're talking week 3 matchups, people. Here we go. We'll see if Paul Blart Mall Cop curse falls upon me this week, as nobody can seem to score more than 100 points against him. As we face off against each other, you got Team Shockley, Durham Bison. Poor Deb has to face Jordan, scoring 170 points. House Autry and the New Zealand Kiwi Bird, that is my matchup of the week. That's going to be a really interesting one. Both some good teams. Josh's players really coming into form. Amanda, always a good matchup. So we'll see what happens there. The Wichita Lawn Pigs would look to continue Joe's losing ways and to drop him to 0-3. As you get over the hump there at 500. Kurt and Joe going at each other. Finally, we have the Hershey Bears, and Taj is Rex in effect. Same kind of matchup there, a 1-1 and an 0-2. And we will see who comes out victorious. So there you have it. Gone through week 2. We've looked forward to week 3. We'll see who keeps the winning ways going. We'll see who drops to 0-3. Still some candidates out there for that. So happy fantasy football. Check out those waiver wires. No collusion. I've seen enough trades this year so far. I don't like it. I don't like all these trades. But Commish might put a stamp down on that. Anyway, we'll see you in week 3. See you next Tuesday. Peace out, guys.